Welcome to your upfront moment.
That I feel I would love to share with others.
We're building a confidence revolution.
Confident.
Braver and inspired.
Hopeful.
Your upfront moment.
Share, reflect, learn and grow.
Here to change confidence, not women. Hi friends, I'm Lauren Curry, the founder of UPFRONT. We're an organisation on a mission to change confidence for 1 million women and non-binary people by 2023. And we do this in 3 ways. We transform your relationship and habits around confidence, power and visibility through our 6-week online course. Each cohort is called a bond. Bond is the collective noun for a group of women. And over 1,000 women have graduated from a bond from over 20 different countries. We build community, real, genuine, human community, where women learn how to stand up for themselves and each other. We hold each other to account, we celebrate each other and learn together. Our community is Global Bond. We create content that will inspire, challenge and motivate you to be upfront. We are here to change confidence, not women. Upfront Moment is designed to kick your week off with confidence, self-compassion and agency. Last week, we spoke about 3 ideas that influence how I lead. And this week, we're talking about being difficult, why it's necessary and a privilege. A question that I get asked a lot is, how do I avoid being seen as bossy or difficult? So it's often, I really want to do this thing. I know I need to do this thing. Now that thing might be set up a new business. It might be tell my organisation that they should put salary bands on their job adverts. It might be tell my next door neighbour that he's racist and everything in between. But we resist those moments for fear of being labelled bossy or difficult. And maybe the word will be different for you. Maybe the word for you, so for me, it's probably not bossy, it's probably aggressive, because that's a word that I have been called during my career, then I became very sensitive to this idea. Another one might be intimidating or combative. So there are these labels where when you attach these labels to women, they can take a very different shape and form than the same label would when attached to a man. So it's confrontational is another one. Steamroller. Somebody once called me a flowery steamroller. And still to this day, this person is adamant that is like the perfect description of me and it's very complimentary. But my jury is still out. Because is that thing where you go to B&Q and there's a toolbox and then it's like a toolbox for girls and all the hammers and nails are pink and you're like, why? And it costs £5 more. Is that the flowery steamroller version? So I think another reaction that we have to this question is really that it's sexist, it's patriarchal, it's out of date. You know, I'm cross and irritated that anybody would even ask you that question. You know, some of you, we're all at different stages on our journey of being upfront, on our journey of learning to be feminist. For some of us, that feels like a question that we might have got over a long time ago. I'd urge you to remember that even though we desperately wish that this question was redundant and a thing of the past, even though in our circles we are not having debates about the word bossy anymore, these questions are still a daily reality for many, many different kinds of women. So I urge you to empathise and listen to women who are genuinely filled with this fear every day because they work in a system, a culture, a team, a sector, or they're part of a family or a friend group that's nowhere near ready to explore what leading differently might look like. My short answer to the question is that you cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid these labels. What you can do is ensure that you are warm, compassionate, factual. Recognise that you will probably still be seen as difficult, but hopefully you will be respected. nonetheless. I think the first step is about taking a moment to reflect with yourself on where is this behaviour and fear coming from. As young girls, many of us have been raised to be likeable, obedient, we're rewarded for being peacekeepers, and there are a whole barrage of negative words that are used against us whenever we don't fit that mould. We've talked about some already: aggressive, intimidating, controlling, catty, spoiled. So from a very young age, we understand these behaviours bring us these labels. Therefore, we avoid these behaviours to avoid those labels. Beliefs about gender identity and these labels inform everything around us all of the time, from the toys we play with when we're little, to the speech we use, to the body language of our caregivers and our teachers. So it's no wonder that so many women have subconsciously learned to wear a mask that allows them to avoid criticism and reproach. And it's no wonder that when women like us, when women in the bond choose to take that mask off, there can be negative consequences. So research has shown that when women in meetings take up equal airspace to men, we are considered to be dominating. Research has shown that when women are seen to self-promote, they are viewed negatively by both men and women. So by speaking up and out, you will absolutely be unpalatable to some. You will be too much or too quiet or too something for somebody somewhere, because you are challenging the status quo. And when you choose to challenge the status quo, you are ultimately being a threat to all of the people that are currently served greatly by the status quo. And you'll all know who they are. If you don't, you can turn on the news. There's lots of them. I think the second step is accepting that reality, which I think is a journey in itself. Accepting that reality, accepting what does that mean for me, what does it mean for my colleagues, for my daughters, for my nieces, for my girlfriends. Accepting that reality and then creating a strategy, gathering evidence, finding support. So this is about how are you going to look after yourself? Where are you going to find mentors, find allies? And of course, making sure that you are applying for new jobs regularly, staying connected to your value and your identity outside of your current role will help you to challenge the status quo in your existing role when you're constantly reminding yourself that you have value and worth outside of your existing role. Now that takes a wee bit of a different shape for entrepreneurs or freelancers or people who run their own business, but the same ideas apply. The third step is understanding the huge and significant role that privilege plays in this idea of being seen as bossy or difficult, particularly the colour of your skin and the privilege that being white affords women in this conversation. The reality that as a white woman you have proximity to power and wealth and influence, often in a way that your black and brown peers do not have. So even this idea of will I be called difficult, will I not be, that's a privilege that many women don't have, because they don't have the opportunity to decide or choose if they're going to be difficult or not. And I spoke to a woman called Shana Tufal about this. She works at the Science Museum, and she said this is harder for those of us who are not white, for those of us who may have a visible or invisible disability, for those of us who are neurodivergent or come from a working class background, and those who didn't go to certain universities. Being difficult, being bossy, comes with so many harsher, very real consequences for women who live and represent those identities. So ultimately, you cannot change how people view you. You can only change your own behaviour. So if you are in a position where you have sought wisdom from other people and you can conclude that you are being the right amount of difficult And I think that's a really interesting idea to play with. Like, what is the right amount of difficult for you right now? Whether it's in your team, in your work, in your home, with your friends, whatever the situation that's coming up to mind for you. If you're being the right amount of difficult, then you can be confident with that and carry on. Thank you for listening, friend. And tag us at Upfront Global, tag me at Lauren Curry, and let me know what you took away from this moment. And of course, please let me know if there's any topic you'd like me to cover next. Don't forget to sign up to our weekly newsletter. Every Tuesday, we send over 4,000 people all over the world links, insight, and inspiration that will leave you feeling ready to take action. If you've enjoyed today's Upfront Moment, you are going to adore our 6-week online course, Bond 6. By now, you've probably heard of the Bond. Bond is the collective noun for a group of women, and over 1,000 women and non-binary people from over 50 countries, representing organisations such as Nike, and Pleo and Spotify, have graduated from our 6-week online course. Bond 6 starts on June 6th. 6 weeks of online learning and community that will transform your relationship with your own confidence. The problem isn't that women aren't confident, but that confidence in women is not rewarded in the world. This is the problem that we exist to solve. The Upfront Bond course has been called the Couch to 5K for Confidence. I share practical and inspirational tools and insights to help you be more upfront in every single aspect of your life.
I'm Ruth. I'm a Bond 3 graduate. I completed the Upfront course mid-lockdown on my second round of maternity in as many years. And it was hands down the best thing I did that year, other than raise my little boys. 3 things that it's given me. I've reflected a lot on my relationship with confidence, and I'm known often as a confident person, but I now realise I often talk most when I feel least confident. So I've been consciously staying quiet and actually speaking up less, but I think having more impact as a result. And secondly, I think as well, I've been recognising kind of my agency in creating the culture that I'd like to work in. I've seen previously my kind of emotional, passionate kind of traits as a weakness to leadership, but I'm really trying to use them more often to unlock the best from my team and see them as assets, not a weakness. And then finally, it's a really straightforward one, but sometimes you just need to make yourself see it. Guilt-free time to myself, not trying to meet others' needs or expectations, just my own. And that's been really important for my well-being as I've returned to work, juggling everything. And thank you. I use all these learnings daily.
Visit weareupfront.com to take a peep at the Bond 6 details and of course sign up to our newsletter. Bye friends, I'll see you on Monday for your next Upfront Moment.